Here is the standard definition of the vertex form of a parabola. The vertex form of a parabola is this form right here. Now that's the form we had in our last discussion, right? We had x minus 2 squared minus 9. So this point right here, where you take the opposite of this number, right? If that's negative 5, you take positive 5. You just take h itself. If it was, say, positive 4, you would take negative 4. So it's the opposite of what you see here, and then the k value. So this point right here, h, k, those are the coordinates of the parabola. So for example, suppose we have a parabola here that opens upward like this, and I draw it somewhere in a plane. What would the coordinates of that point right there be? Well, that would be h, and this would be k. Now this number h here, that number h, right, that represents the horizontal shift. That is the distance left to right. The graph has shifted from x equals 0, or the y-axis. So in this case right here, we're shifting, what, h units to the right. That's why you see the minus here. And that number k here, that constant out here, okay, that number k, well, that represents the vertical shift. Now, that's the distance up or down. The graph has shifted from y equals 0, which is the x-axis. So in our case, I've got a plus k, so I'm thinking this is going to be up k units here. So just a few examples here. What if we have this form right here? Y equals x minus 2 squared minus 9. Can you see what the vertex is? The vertex is here at, all right, now look at this. This form right here, let me write that form. That form looks like this. X minus h squared plus k. So in this case, what is h? Right, h in this case is right there. You got x minus 2. So x minus h. So h is 2. And what is k? Well, k is negative 9, meaning we're moving 9 units down. So we're going to have, the vertex is at 2 and negative 9. What about this here? Y equals x plus 5 squared plus 8. So where's that vertex? So that vertex is going to appear, now if you look at the form here, that form is x minus h squared plus k. So what have you got? If we actually write it like this, x minus negative 5 squared plus 8. And I'm doing that because you see the general form? Look back over here. The general form says x minus. Now we have an x plus, but I can write that like this. I want it to match this form, so I can write it x minus and the opposite of that number. So I don't really write this every time. I always take the opposite of that number. I did that up here. What's the opposite of minus 2? 2. What's the opposite of 5? That's going to be 5. What's the opposite of 5? Yeah, negative 5. All right, so my h is the opposite, negative 5, and the k is h, is 8. So the vertex is at negative 5 and 8. So what would you do to graph this? You go to the left 5 and up 8.